Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I have a very special review, impressions of a knife that I was able to get hold of through the Apex Pass Around because Brian Winters was gracious enough to share this knife with us. So thank you, Brian, and thank you Winterblade Company for sharing with us the Factor. This is the B1 version, and recently he's had some sold some of the B2 versions he had left over, and he opened up the pre-order for the B3 version, and it might still be open now, or I think it just closed. I'm not sure. Probably be closed at the time of this video, but it, check, maybe it might still be open. I don't know. But this is a really amazing knife. Really, really cool. It was one that I had tried to get in on. I missed all the orders and everything, it's a great knife. It is not a cheap knife, but it is a great knife, and definitely something you get a lot for. So let's talk a little bit about this. So the designer is Brian Winters from Winterblade Company. He created the Factor, and he does some engineering marvels with magnets. The cool thing about this is it is magnetically controlled, okay? And Bestech is the manufacturer for this knife, so if you're familiar with Bestech, really great OEM work for them. And we'll talk a little bit about the material. This is a titanium handle on this side, and on the back it is a twill carbon fiber, I guess we could call this twill, probably twill, yeah, twill carbon fiber layer sheet here, and it is carbon fiber all the way through. It's not anything like the Spyderco where it's got the peel ply on top. It's a deep milled pocket titanium clip, which is really cool. A nice big old pivot there, and it's a captive pivot, as you can see, with a G10 insert also into the button as well. And M390 blade steel. All right, so that is the material. So let's talk a little bit about how you open this. So it's got a thumb hole, which is like a fuller hole. That's your main way of opening it. But there's also a button here, if you will, a back on the back part of the knife. And this is not like anything typical what you would have, like a frame lock, liner lock, compression lock, or a shark lock, or a button lock. This is very different. It's magnetically controlled. The closest thing I could describe this to would be like an Axis or Able lock, but magnetically controlled in the way it engages on the tang of the blade. A lot of cool engineering into this, and I would be remiss and probably missing out on explaining some of that, because there's just a whole lot more engineering than I could probably even ever give credit due to. So let's talk about it. So the way you open it, you flick it open like that. It makes a beautiful ting that's very distinctive of the knife. Full flat grind all the way to the very top. You can see Winterblade Co. Company here, M390, and we will wipe that blade off. Got a little bit of stuff on there. Let's just make it nice and pretty for the camera. So you can see that. M390 blade steel, all really, really nice. I think it's a fantastically cool knife. Then you can see the titanium side as well. Back here you can see the Factor name on top of it. Very cool. And when it closes, it magnetically closes, disengages, and you can see back here, this is where the lock engages up on the tang of the blade, right? You can see that right there. And so you'll hear that ting that goes on, and the lock right here, when it opens up, it drops down here. This is what locks it in place. It locks it right up here in that part like that. And when you release it, it then catches down here with the magnets. So there are magnets inside. I don't know if you can see those two magnets right there. That's what holds it in place. So open it like that and drop it. And then there's also this button that you can push in the back that also ejects the knife as well. And that right there works on the inside here. And you can see right in there, there's the little button that goes into it and pushes down on that and kind of moves it forward. So it's very cool. Very, very neat. The engineering marvel of this is just really quite fascinating. All right, so that is how that works. There's no other thumb studs or anything else, but it's just a fuller. And it works well, both front and back. And then this button in the back of the blade that actually pushes the blade out. What would that be closest to? Maybe sort of a flipper, but a detached flipper, maybe kind of like the kickstop, but not the kickstop. This is set in place, and it pivots here at the back part right here. So, and then the magnetics just pull it right in, which is really cool. All right, so that is really, and by the way, it has a lot of nice chamfering all around. So it makes it very comfortable. It has a little finger choil you can choke up definitely with, do some precision cuts if you want it to, which is really nice. But this chamfering and rounding around the corners is really nice, very comfortable, and the clip doesn't dig in, there's no hot spots. It's a thinner knife, which is nice, makes it feel like an executive carry, right? But definitely comfortable in that regard. Let's do a little bit of measurements on this knife. All right, let's see how much this weighs. All right, so it's 3.33 ounces, not bad, very relatively light. Part of the carbon fiber on there probably doesn't hurt at all, right? Let's see how long this is and look at the blade length. All right, so in this particular knife, we have a knife that's 2.5 inches as far as cutting edge. The blade to the back of the tang, we're probably looking at I'm going to say 7/8 to 2 3/4. So definitely legal in places like California where you have to be under 3 inches, no question, even to the back of the handle. Overall length, we're just an eighth of an inch, I think, over 7 inches, so it's 7 1/8. The handle itself, if you take just a handle, you got about 3 3/4 inches to hold on to. If you do take the finger choil, you get all the way up to at least 4 1/4 inches to maybe 4, and I would say probably probably 3/8, somewhere around there. It's close to almost 4.5 inches. So a lot of good room, which means that if you've got medium to medium large hands, like me, they're large widthwise, medium lengthwise, definitely have a lot of room. So I would say large to extra large to even double extra large should have no problem holding this. And even triple extra large, you have that little angle so your finger could even fit there. But you can see there's plenty of room, right? And let's measure that blade stock thickness. Let's see how thick that is. Let's zero that in. Oops, wrong one. Oh, knocking over the knife with my finger. All right, there we go. Sometimes it's a little finicky. So we're 1/128 of an inch, which is about average blade stock. I mean, that's relatively, it's got some width to it. It's not super crazy thin, but it's not super crazy thick. That nice high flat grind comes down to a nice thin edge. Definitely has a beautiful sharp edge there. Definitely has a nice little tip. I would kind of call this probably a Wharncliffe sort of shape. I mean, it does have a little belly, sort of like a sheep's foot, but it's really more Wharncliffe-y, I would say. Call it reverse Tonto Wharncliffe modified. Ooh, excuse me, it's a little late here. Wouldn't get this review out because I need to catch up on all my reviews. Got a lot of knives to review. So this, I like the shape of the blade. It's very functional, very useful, especially for precision cuts. This is going to be a great user knife as far as that goes for the thickness. I think you're going to enjoy that. So where does this fall? Well, these I know for the B3 version, they were selling for, I think, $365 to $385, somewhere well over $400. And if you got the Damasteel, probably $500 or so. So this is definitely going to be a high-end knife. It's definitely not a cheap one. All right, so this is what definitely I would consider this a high-end knife, but really worth it. It's so unique and so different. The purpose of this knife is definitely EDC. I would say everyday carry. The clip works really nicely. It did go in and out of the pocket really well. It does have a little curve, but it does flatten up a little bit, which is one of those things I don't like. I typically take clips like that and I round them off. If I were to own this knife, I would probably buff that out because that does cinch up. It bunches up in your pocket, and then it's kind of hard and it can rip your pants a bit. Now, I get the benefit of it. The engineering behind that is so it doesn't fall out. You're not going to lose the knife. And if you're a person who runs and darts and runs marathons and sprints, 100 meter dashes all the time with your pocket knives, yeah, you're going to need something like that for sure. But for the rest of us, the 99.9999999% of us, no, I don't think we really need that. That's just my gut feeling on that one. So I think a little roundedness would be nice. It would definitely make this go in and out of the pocket a little bit better. That would be about my only qualm. But like I said, if I owned this knife and I was to have it, probably wouldn't have gotten the blacked out deep mill pocket carry clip, and I would have definitely buffed that out, which is not a big deal for me, but for some people, that might be a deal breaker, right? But it has very, very, very different versions of this. Like the B3, it has some milling on there. It has full titanium, which I think is pretty awesome, really neat. So very cool. So that's where I would say it's definitely EDC friendly. Definitely going to be a workhorse. You can cut boxes, letters. I mean, like for most of us, we're going to be cutting dog food, cat food, mulch, maybe fertilizer, going to be opening up, cases of water or what have you. That's really our primarily letters, envelopes, Amazon boxes. So I think for that, this is a great knife. It's going to be very useful, very, very helpful. I believe I read somewhere that the magnets, their life expectancy is about 100 years. So I think it'll outlive you. So if you're worried about the magnets, something like that, no, they will really last forever. All right. Let's talk about the ergos and feel. Hand design, love it, love it. Very comfortable, very ergonomic, very comfortable. There's no hot spots, doesn't burn. Even this little spot here is very comfortable. You don't catch it or anything like that. The finger choil works really well for that kind of choke up position, works well for a push cut. Feels very solid. There's no blade rock whatsoever. It's in there nice and solid. When it comes back to the detent, you can see that magnet is gonna just pull that one in. And especially once it gets going, it just goes, right? I think this release, the magnet's already pushing it right there. You can see that. You see how the magnet, if I put it there, the magnet's going to already push that. So if I get any sort of leverage, it's going to go straight in. So that's cool. I like the handle design. The deployment designs are cool. I mean, you know, you don't have a million ways to deploy it, but that's a full thumb hole right there, spidey hole, whatever you want to call it, fuller hole. You can move your finger down there in the flat part like that. You know, you could do that. You can get your finger in there with the nail. You can flick it open, which gives you a nice, strong, sturdy. You can do it left-handed as well, right? The only thing is, well, I was going to say it's not lefty friendly, but I think, yeah, that goes on the outside. Yeah, you could easily that's a left and right. Yeah, you can definitely swap that. I believe I did that when I did the unboxing. Definitely swappable. So that's really cool. It's definitely swappable. So that's a positive right there. So left and right-handed compatibility is really cool. By the way, I forgot to mention, there were some versions where you can get a carbon fiber cover for this thing. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I know the B3 had versions of that, which I think is kind of cool. So if you didn't like this exposed, you're worried about the blade sticking out here, which, by the way, if you smoke cigars, look at that. You can clip them right there. Maybe that's the idea. I don't know. Maybe Brian likes to smoke cigars and he clips them right off, or maybe he's got wire or something he wants to cut. It would make a great wire stripper, I guess, if you're going to use your knife for hard use. But anyways, yeah, really cool. I like that. So the deployments are great, and I love this little button flipper, pusher, whatever. I don't know what you want to call this. I'm sure Brian has a unique name for it, and I'm sorry, Brian, if you watch this, which I doubt very much you would. I'm too small of a channel, not really anything big at all. But, you know, I'm kind of curious what you call this. You know, is it the backstop engagement deployment method? I don't know. So I kind of like that. Kind of maybe almost feels like a hook or something like that, like a pick or something, right? And then the fuller works really nice. I like that. The closing design is really easy to work with. All you got to do is one button. Now, it's not on both sides. It's only one side because of the way the magnet works. It's not going to be dual like an axis lock, but still, you can get a good grip on here. And if you're lefty, there would be a clip right there, easily to hold, and it would work very well, very well. And all you need is one hand, so that work, I would think, be awesome, right? Fidget factor. Well, it doesn't have like a front flipper. It doesn't have a regular flipper. It has a few extra features. So I'm going to say, because of it's so unique, right? You have the fuller hole, the thumb hole, whatever you want to call it, and this back spacer engagement, whatever. I'm going to give this probably a 7 out of 10 as far as options for fidget factor, right? So 7 out of 10 as far as fidgety capabilities, but out of those 7 out of 10 fidget capabilities, I'm going to say this is a 7 out of 10. It's 100%. So for the capability of fidgety goodness that it is outstanding, absolutely outstanding, fantastic. I love it. The fidget factor, as far as what you can do with what it has, is just great, and it works really well left-handed. I really like that. There's sometimes you get these really great knives that are really cool right-handed, and then when you deploy them left-handed, you know, frame locks, sometimes liner locks can be like that. They just kind of disappoint, and they're hard to fidget with your left hand. You can do it, usually have to have some weird grip or something. Not with this one. I can just grip it like regular, like this, get my hand up there, and I can flick it just like regular. I can front flick it, which is, I think, is really cool. So I really like that. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, 100%. 100% for what it's capable of fidgety goodness. It knocks it out of the park. So I like that a lot. So what's my overall thoughts, and is it recommended? My overall thoughts, this is an amazing little knife. I like it. I mean, the engineering goodness in this knife is just, I don't know, it just scratches your brain. It's so cool. It's so different. And I get it. I get people talk about that uniqueness. And I think as he designs more knives and more of this, ingenuity and intuitiveness comes out, I think he's going to change part of the knife industry. He's going to open doors in new ways that's not going to been done before, just because the way he figures out how these magnets works and has it, solidly put together. I suspect they will be replicates and clones. They'll have to make sure they're really good quality magnets, because the way you put these magnets in, if they're not done well, they can crack, they can break. You don't want to lose them, right? So you want to make sure all that stuff is done really, really, really well. So yeah, my thought is absolutely recommended. It's a great knife. I'm going to absolutely put this into my recommended knives and higher end recommended knives for sure. No questions asked. I really, really, really like this knife for so many reasons. And I think if you have the budget for it, if you're not maybe allocated other budget to other things at this time, you should consider this. Absolutely consider this and look at his next drop, and maybe, even the pre-orders if it's still open. Definitely consider that. Unfortunately, my budget's spent with a lot of the knives I've done, and I've got to do some sales to be able to consider buying one of these at this point. But that's okay. I hope down the road I can get another one. They're popular, and hopefully he'll make more because of the popularity. So I can't wait for the next version, right? Sorry, guys, I am so tired. My goodness, I wasn't expecting to be yawning this much during this review. I really apologize. Hopefully you're not watching this when it's late at night and you're tired yourself. If you are, you'll probably be asleep by now. But anyways, so highly recommended. I really think you should check it out. Thumbs up. Just really awesome. Just cool. I just like it. So that's my thoughts on that. Definitely think you should consider adding it to your collection if you can. Get some variant of it. I'm going to try to see if I can get a secondhand one, or hopefully after the pre-order comes in 6 to 8 months, I can get one of those. Maybe I'll have some extras, or he'll have a version 4 or another variant or another type of knife come out, because, I don't know. This is just such a cool knife. I hope he doesn't just do one and never does it again. It's just too cool of a knife not to make more of. They're just some knives that are they're classics, and I think this is one of those. So anyways, that's my thought. I hope he does it. But we'll see if I can get a hold of one when I can afford it. But I definitely think this is a really cool one. Yeah. If you really like this, save your money. Don't be like me and buy other knives, right? Save your money and focus on that. I focused on another Grail knife recently, and so that's what I'm doing, and that's one of the reasons why I can't even consider this. I had to focus on one specific knife, and I'm really hoping to acquire that one at some time near future. So this one was kind of out of the picture for me, as were some other ones. So anyways, we'll see if I get that Grail knife and be bummed that I missed out on this one. So hopefully it was a good decision for me, but you never know in the knife industry, because sometimes some things go really fast and sometimes you get lucky. So we'll see. But if you like this knife, get lucky, go get one. Pre-order if it's still available. If not, definitely get the next one, because this is a great knife. I'm definitely going to recommend it. So there you go. So if you found this content fun, interesting, or worthwhile, please consider liking this video. And if you've already liked this video, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. You can do that down below, subscribing and liking the video. Both of those really, really help me out a lot. And maybe if you've done all that, consider hitting the notification button so you can be notified of future content as it is released. Oops, sorry, I dropped a piece of paper over there. I was grabbing for one of these cards. See if I can grab it. Yeah, so if you've already subscribed, maybe consider hitting the notification button so you can be notified of future content as I drop it. And then if you've done all that, maybe check me out on Instagram. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, on Instagram. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.